Welcome everybody to season 4, episode 38 of Oz Media's Motivate Me 313 podcast. And we got another one of those shows today where you probably should have some popcorn with this episode because it should be exciting, inshallah. Looking forward to another great episode. The title of today is Muslim Marriage Market Madness. Is the system broken? Very deep title, very deep conversation, and we're going to go ahead and introduce the people who are in the building today. Starting off with little big bro Yusuf T on the ones and twos. As always, we appreciate him. On the right, we have our guest for today is Ashley. As many of you know her as Ash Bay on Instagram and TikTok and every other platform that she probably has. She'll tell you more about that. Shout out to Ashley. To the right of me, we got big sis IBT in the building today. Looking forward to a show with her. I was telling her earlier, man, it's been a while since we've been together on a podcast show. Of course, you got myself, Omar T. And again, we're looking forward to today's conversation. Before we start talking about anything, I do want to say be sure to follow us on all of our socials. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Apple, and Spotify podcasts, all under Oz Media. You can find all those platforms on our website at ozmedia313.com. Shout out to the sponsors of this show. We have Hanley International Academy, Holy Bowling, Wingfellas, Juice Box, Royal Kebab, Malika Kebab, Jebed Coffee House, and Riverfront Cleaning. We appreciate them and all their support. Yusuf, let's start off with our good friends over there at Malika Kebab, and then we're going to keep the show rolling. Shout out to Malika Kebab. Malika Kebab has become noted as one of the best Middle Eastern restaurants in the Metro Detroit area. The restaurant has become a popular destination for visitors and is always full of satisfied locals who are proud to invite their guests to taste real Middle Eastern food. With options like shish platters, shawarma plates, shawarma sandwiches, lamb chops, fattoush, and tabbouleh salads, you can never go wrong when you choose to eat at Malika Kebab. They currently have 3 locations, West Dearborn, Taylor, and Trenton. Be sure to stop by Malika Kebab to satisfy all of your Middle Eastern cravings. You can also visit them at their website, malikkebab.com. All right, we are back and ready to get this show rolling. So first of all, I just want to say this, okay? When it comes to the topic of marriage, obviously we are not professionals that are going to sit here and act like that. We are, the people that you should no matter what listen to, no matter what we say. This is our opinions that we're going to try to share with you and try to hopefully where you can benefit from it, okay? We're also coming at it maybe from different perspectives, You try not to be biased or try not to favor one side of a conversation, but it's important to know where that person is coming from before you hear their answers. I am a married man. Of course, my sister Abirti, not of course, my sister Abirti, that sounds kind of mean, but she is a divorcee. Shout out to big sis Abirti. And Ashley, she's a revert. And inshallah, in the future, we do want to have a whole show about revert. But today we're like, hey, you know what? Let's talk about marriage because people love the conversations of marriage. They love the conversations of divorce. It's just one of those things. You know what I'm saying?
It's half our deen.
It's half our deen.
So
that's exactly
it's important to talk about as well.
It is very important. I mean, it should be something that we talk about because it is an important conversation. And there's so many layers that you can, go at this conversation. So, Ashley, first of all, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, and, maybe even talk about a little bit about your journey of being a revert as well, if you want to touch on that a little bit.
Sure, I can do that. I'm Ashley. I'm almost 30 years old. I reverted about 2 years ago. I come from a Italian Lebanese family. Lebanese Christian, though, because Christian Arabs do exist. Let's not forget about that.
We didn't know that. Yeah, a lot of people don't. Yeah,
that seems to be a big topic of conversation anytime I talk about being a revert. Is I thought you were Arab.
Yeah,
I am. Don't forget that.
Sweet. So, can you tell us what you do? I mean, I know you are. You are a social media influencer. You do a great job with breaking down news. I think your way of doing it is very, it's the right way of doing it. It's interesting and it's very informative as well. But is that all you do? Is that your 9 to 5 or is there other stuff that you do work-wise?
Content creation has become almost like a second job, a second full-time job, but I do have a day job. Okay. 9 to 5, I work as an accountant, which is completely different than most people expect from me. Yeah. Being somebody who is so vocal and outspoken online, to have such a quiet, boring 9 to 5
office alone.
Right. It's a completely different vibe. But I think if I did something that was a little bit more social in my day-to-day, it would be a little bit more difficult to be as outspoken online as I am. So
that is a great point because even me working with a city, I feel like it's a good balance. Like it's more.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's the professionalism, and then outside of it is where you try to have a little bit of fun. And
Because your social battery, it dies out.
it does.
Oh, so quick. So quick.
100%. Abir, you've had big news. Since the last time you've been here, you got the new job, and looking forward to that. What else is new? What you want to tell us about? Tell the crowd about what's your next move in life. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I'll be graduating in August with my master's degree in ed leadership.
Go ahead and give that a round of applause.
Yeah, I'll be switching schools and just big moves.
Switching schools.
Yep.
Are you looking forward to that?
I'm nervous and I'm sad to leave because I actually loved where I work, but it's for growth, and you have to be out of your comfort zone for any growth. So
Future principal, inshallah, coming soon. Not this year coming up, but inshallah. Soon.
whenever God wills.
Whenever God wills. There we go. All right. So, like we said, today we're talking about the Muslim marriage market madness. Is the system broken? So, we're going to obviously talk about marriage and we're going to talk about unrealistic expectations. All right. That's the first one, Yusuf. I think a lot of air horn. Your finger should be on the air horn trigger, Yusuf, because I feel like that's going to be a lot. So, when I ask the question, let's just start off with, because we'll break it down into tiers, but do we have unrealistic expectations when it comes to looking for, inshallah, your future spouse? I'll start off with you, Ashley.
Absolutely, we do. Men and women both have unrealistic expectations, not just for the character of their partner, but what they expect to be given to them materially. We enter into relationships for the wrong reasons the vast majority of the time. So you've got people who have unrealistic expectations about what their spouse earns, their home life, all of these different things. For a woman, it's what she looks like, what she can bring to the table, which I hate that type of phrasing to talk about, a woman's value of what she can bring to the table. It feels icky to me. We don't have good expectations or good reasons for entering into relationships anymore.
I love that. I bet you want to add on to that or feed off of that?
100%. They are very unrealistic. I do feel like people have, valid, what they prioritize in a relationship, and they should know what they want, especially because everybody's different, and I feel like everybody has different needs, and you should, understand your needs. But I think once you start prioritizing unnecessary, like you said, like I don't want to say finances, but like
material things.
Yeah, material things, what they're going to give me or whatever. That's where it goes wrong. The Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he told us we have to prioritize faith and character. And I feel like we kind of look past that. We were looking at their job, whatever, which is valid. You know what I'm saying? But we still have to make sure that we focus on the right things.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the times your expectations are very contradicting, when it comes to men and when it comes to women. So a woman would be like, oh, I want a religious man, but he can't be rigid. And not that saying religious men are rigid, but still they want the middle ground. You know what I'm saying? Or with men, they want an educated woman, but they still want, but they don't want her to be career driven. You know what I'm saying? So it's it's so hard, and everyone's so different. So, but at the same time, you have your principles and you understand what you need in a person, and you do that work within yourself. If you want this amazing husband, do you know how to be an amazing wife? Or are you prepared? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So it's oh, I want this woman who's going to be faithful and loyal, whatever, but are you creating that space for her to be faithful and loyal and whatever? You know what I'm saying? It's just, I feel like a lot of people need to work on themselves and be that perfect person themselves, or kind of what they want to see in the other person, and then it kind of balances out.
A lot of men and women, I feel want very traditional roles without being a traditional person themselves. You can't, as a man, ask for a traditional woman without being a traditional man and being willing to take on traditional male roles. Same with women. You can't ask a man to be a traditional man and to take care of you as a man when you're not willing to be the type of woman that a traditional man needs.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Very contradicting. It's kind of, it's a little scary because I feel like a lot of the times they look at, online and they see couples and they think oh, that's kind of what I want. But are you ready to be a wife? You want a husband, but are you ready to be a wife? Or you want a wife, but are you ready to be a husband? Do you know what it actually means to be a husband? And if you are Muslim, in the, religious aspect. Same thing for the woman as well.
I think one of the big issues with these types of relationships is so many of us are thinking about our own individual needs and what somebody else can do to meet our needs without thinking about what can we do to meet somebody else's needs. What can we do to be, like you said, a good wife, a good husband to somebody. We're instead putting our own needs above everybody else. It's very individualistic.
Yep. That's huge. That's huge, especially when it comes to a marriage, because it's a compromise at the end of the day. Like it's a back and forth. It's not just what are they going to do for me.
Right.
Perfect. Honestly, she said it so.
And going off of perfect, that's what I was going to say, was that the problem is also, I believe, is that people believe that they have to find the perfect person. And they don't know how to, no one's perfect. It's just, that person could be perfect in your eyes, but no one's really perfect. But when you are looking for a marriage and you hear these conversations, I want this, I want this, I want this, and I ask them, okay, what if they don't have that? I don't want them. It's like, that's one thing. And I you hear about situations that one thing stopped, a marriage from happening, and it bothers you, or it bothers me at least, because it's like, there's nobody perfect in this world. There's no such thing as a perfect human being, So it's like, we have to be able to lower our expectations a little bit. And I'm not saying to the point where, like, you're not happy with this person, but be open to understanding that maybe you don't know that once you're married and they spend time with you, you can help that person with whatever the ick that you may have against them, or whatever that may be.
I don't think that lowering expectations is necessarily the right word for it. We tend to take things that are very secondary concerns and make them our primary concern. What somebody looks like, what job they have, how much wealth they have. These are all secondary things that, sure, you should be concerned about whether or not your husband can provide for you, but primarily you should be looking at his character, his dean, what type of man this is, and we have shifted it so that all of these secondary things that don't matter as much as a person's character become our primary focus. So rather than lowering our expectations, we need to shift our priorities to what is actually important.
And a lot of the times it's always, and I'm going to get controversial here.
Oh, here we go. Get the air horn ready, Yusuf.
The men telling the woman to lower their expectations.
Go ahead, hit
Yes.
the air horn.
A lot of the time. So when you said that, it triggered me. I was like, wait, what are you about to say? But I love how you talked before me, because I was ready to go like, So 100%, like, listen, everybody's different. Everybody's different, but you said it perfectly. And, like I said before, the prophet said, prioritize faith and character. Once you pass faith and character, obviously you can have different depending on your age, depending on, what like, everyone's different. Like, I honestly feel like it's kind of like a, I don't want to say it like this. I don't want to say anything that's like kind of, but it's kind of like a job. Like, everybody should have a resume kind of in a way where, like, yourself, what you can mesh with, what you can work with or whatever. And it's okay for you to want certain things. You know what I'm saying?
Everybody has different needs, and everybody's going to be able to meet different needs.
Exactly. And like, maybe I'm not your cup of tea, but I can be someone else's cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? So it really, I don't want to lower anybody's kind of,
Yeah, I mean, obviously I probably should have worded that correctly, but let me just go off this. If the secondary concerns, so the primary concerns are checked off, okay? And then a secondary concern becomes the reason why someone doesn't get married to someone else. Do you agree with that?
Okay, so for me personally, this is my opinion. I don't want nobody to come, because everybody's different. They have to have a provider mentality. They need to be a protector, and personality. Like, those are things like they're secondary, but I need them. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what a man should be. Like, when I say these things, they're very broad. It's not specific, but like, I'm a little bit older, and like, I've been through, situations in my life, and, it's okay and it's valid for me to have those secondary concerns. But what we're talking about is more of like,
Money. I mean,
not
like
money.
Cars.
Listen, a provider mentality is that means this person's going to be working their butt off to figure it out.
Yeah. But, some people want a certain amount of money. You know what I'm saying?
See, that money comes and goes, because you can have all the money right now, but something can happen and Allah could take it away like this.
Yeah.
So that's why character and dean are first. You know what I'm saying?
I think those secondary concerns are places where you need to have flexibility and room to grow.
Yeah.
So you can have that need. I need somebody who has a provider mentality. Like, maybe he doesn't have the money right now, but he's got that drive and is willing to work towards those goals. And you have to be willing as a woman to kind of ride that out with him.
Yeah.
But if he's got that mentality and has that room to grow, that's a completely different situation than saying, this is a person who has no drive, who has no will to do better. those secondary concerns are something that we should be able to grow and develop together.
Yeah. And then also, like, sometimes as women, we do have the tendency of, like, looking past, like, sometimes we're like, oh, their potential, and they're not really showing their potential. They're telling us who they are. And we have like this, oh my, but they can, and we kind of have to look past, like, understand, like, okay, are they a good person? Like, are they really going to, like, do we see them as this person right now, or we're living in this potential kind of bubble? You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes their potential, you think they have it, but it's that they're already showing you who they are right then and there.
You know what I tell my old players when I used to coach them? Potential is just a word at the end of the day. It's what you do with the potential that matters, because at the end of the day, you could be potential all the way until you graduate out of high school and your potential is gone. Yeah. Going off of that, what are your thoughts on the individuals who sometimes prioritize what their parents want when it comes to finding a spouse, more so than, I don't even say more, but at least let's say it's like I'm looking for a woman, I'm taking my parents into consideration and also what I want in consideration as well. Where their parents, what they want is a very high part of what the individual wants in his spouse or her spouse. So basically bringing in the parents. I'm looking at you. As you can start us off on this.
Your parents matter. I'm not trying to say that your parents don't matter. They have valid, opinions, but when it crosses like culture and religion, when that barrier gets, kind of crossed, that's when I feel like if you know this person has great deen, is going to be your partner to Jannah, inshallah, has great character, hits all your boxes, but your family don't have a valid reason why, if it's culturally not correct or whatever, like based on their where they come from, their tribe or their class or whatever the case may be, that's where I feel like you need to like speak up. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to like, sometimes you're blinded and they have a valid point of view, like you should take what they say for consideration.
Your family should be there to guide you, and they should serve as a guide, but at the end of the day, those decisions should be your own. There are a lot of people who, like in my situation as a revert, who don't have family backing, and it's a lot more difficult to find a serious spouse when you don't have family involved. Family should always be involved, and their opinion does matter because they have years of experience on you. They've seen things that you haven't, whereas we're going to be approaching it from a little bit more of a place of naivety because we've never been in that situation. So it's important to look to our elders and heed their advice. They know things you don't, but at the end of the day, it is your decision. And like you said, there are cultural aspects that when we see our parents say, maybe this person isn't a suitable partner because of their job. Well, that is kind of, in my opinion, not the right way to look at it. I've seen people who have rejected partners because, they have a great job. It's a man who's a nurse, but he's not a doctor, So there's a little bit of old world misogyny at play in there sometimes as well.
Yeah, I mean, in the Yemeni culture, and I'm gonna get controversial again.
Get the air horn ready.
You could be a perfect person on paper, but if you're not from the same tribe or class as them, it's like no, and you're hurting. You're creating a stagnant opportunity for your son or your daughter. Like that's not what our Islam teaches. That's not what the Rasul recommended. The Rasul married from different tribes. He recommends, going into, different races and classes and stuff like that. So it's like you are really playing with your future and playing with your
kids' future.
Yeah, your kids' future and their rizq. And at the end of it, you will be answered to God. So
I've seen that happen a couple of times as well. I had a friend who was Palestinian, who is, his parents were, if we're not from the same village, she's off the table. That's not a valid option. It doesn't matter what type of person she is, what her deen is like. None of that matters if she's not from the same village.
And that's just, it's like, people don't realize, like, Allah says, the only thing that you can measure yourself against someone is their religion, So, like, everything else, like, everyone's equal.
You're blocking blessings when you approach it from that sort of mindset.
Yes, 100%.
So do you think that we're asking for too much or we're asking for the wrong things? when you're looking for a spouse? Are people asking for too much, or they're just asking or looking for the wrong things?
I think they're looking for the wrong things. I don't think it's necessarily that we're asking too much. It's again that we're prioritizing the wrong things. We are looking at relationships very transactionally. We want the material things. We want the status. We want the wealth. We want things that do good for us. And this is very individualistic. We, being in the West, it's something that happens to a lot of communities, is that we lose this sense of community and begin thinking individualistically and thinking only of our own selfish desires. We're not thinking about, is this person going to be a good person to raise my children? Is this somebody who is going to be a influential figure to their grandchildren, to cousins, the entire family, basically? We're not thinking about the long term anymore. We're thinking about these very short-term desires, basically, like a quick dopamine hit.
What are your thoughts? I've been on that.
I think that we are expecting things that we haven't worked on within ourselves. It's like, oh, you want love, but are you emotionally available?
Yes.
You want patience, but do you practice love yourself? You want loyalty, but then again, are you healing your trust issues? You know what I'm saying? So I really think that we lack the education of what, and also like the work on ourselves. I feel like we want to complete our half of our deen, right? But have you fixed your other half of deen that you're coming in with? You know what I'm saying? I think that's the biggest thing. It's like heal, learn, go to these, classes that are offered at the masjid. A lot of the times you go, like, oh, our masjids are failing us. But wallah, like, Ummah is doing so much. The ICD is doing so much. Like, growing up for myself, all this was not available. And alhamdulillah, like now I'm seeing it, I'm just like, there's so much that we have to do ourselves, and we can't marry someone for them to fix us. Whether it's a boy or a girl, like vice versa, we need to fix like ourselves and really work on ourselves. And inshallah, like, what you are, you attract. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I'm coming from.
No, some good responses, some great responses so far. And this is just a warm up, believe it or not. We're already 1/3 out of the way. So we're going to run our quick ad and give you guys a quick break and give a shout out to our next sponsor, which is Holy Boly. So shout out to Holy Boly, and we will continue on where we left off. Shout out to Holy Boly. Holy moly, you have to try out Holy Boly. Holy Boly is your go-to destination for vibrant bowls and delicious sandwiches. Everything they serve is 100% fresh, and they have halal options as well. Their mouth-watering bowls are always packed to the top, so you know you're getting the most bang for your buck. They currently have 2 locations in Detroit, and you can check out all their food on their website at www.myholyboly.com. It's funny because, it's not one of the questions that I prepared, but, it's the question of the title. And I probably should start off by asking that. And it's my mistake that I didn't. Do you feel like Muslim marriage, the system, is it broken? Is it broken?
That is a really complex question. I think there are aspects that are succeeding, and then there are aspects that are ultimately failing. But it is largely influenced by the culture that we are in right now in the West. Muslim marriage in the West is a completely different animal than Muslim marriage overseas. It's a completely different mindset. So a lot of the failures that I feel like we're seeing is part of the culture that we're in right now.
How about you, Abir?
I feel like in certain situations it is, but certain situations it's working. I feel like we lack education on what marriage is, and we also are evolving, and it could be a good thing or a bad thing. So, but there is still out there like great relationships. It's because they did the work and they're like learning how to build together and grow together, and they have Deen as the center of their household. But then there is some that there's mistakes, and I feel like it's always going to be this way. You know what I'm saying? Until, we really take the time to learn it through the lens of the Quran. You know what I'm saying? And also at the same time, like, understand that people are messy. We all make mistakes. And do we have that, remorse and that forgiveness where we can like move past that? Are we like, it's just a lot. But honestly, what is marriage? What is that for? It's for that mawadda, that sakina, that rahmah. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like we romanticize the idea of the image of marriage and what they, like you said, very transactional, and they don't realize like when you die, like the only thing that's gonna matter is your deeds. So like that person that you're with, are they helping you like reach Jannah? You know what I'm saying? And like that's like the bigger picture. And I feel like when we lose that, that's where it starts to like,
veer off a little bit.
Yeah.
And I know we kind of touched on this, I bet, with your answer earlier, but we are going to talk a little bit about the cultural standards with race, ethnicity, and class. Do you feel like the cultural standards, and I'm going to start off with you on this one, Abid, it limits options and, basically parents rejecting based on background, not deen. So do you feel like the cultural standards, do you feel like it limits the options?
I was looking at this one statistic from the ISPU. It's like an Islamic fact kind of website. And they were saying the biggest barrier, like the number one reason for the barrier of marriages is the tribalism.
Really?
And the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he actually shattered tribalism. You know what I'm saying? So like, and especially with certain like, when it comes to reverts, fortunately, when it comes to African Americans, or even when it comes to like different, like they're not from the same country as you or whatever. That's like even like bigger. So heck yeah, it's, I already kind of spoke on it before. Like I am against that 100%. And it really does, it takes away your rizq. Because like marriage is rizq. And you're like literally blocking your own kids' rizq. Or even like if I don't know. That's a whole subject in itself. I can go on and on with that.
Yeah, it bothers me so much that still happens to this day in 2025. And it's crazy when you talk to people that are from considered a higher class, like their mindset, like even the kids think like that now too. Like,
but it's getting better though too.
It's getting better. It is getting better.
You know,
there's progress being made, but it's still happening.
It's still there.
It's still there, and that's what's crazy. That it's still there. It's 2025. That person that you're considered low class is a doctor making money, and yet you're basing it off of something that happens hundreds of years ago. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I don't know. I can't wrap my head around it. And the crazy thing is, like I said, there's some families that are still, tooth and nails with it, and it's just. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
And I want to
religious people. Like you would consider them to be religious people, by the way. And it's like they're not taking their religion.
A lot of the times, like I really do think like family's a big deal. Like I would love to marry someone that gets along with my family. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes like the parents, they want like their daughter-in-law or their son-in-law to be like fit for them than instead of their own child. You know what I'm saying? Like it'd be like, oh, because like let's say they're from back home, like they would prefer someone from back home, and like your kid has been born or raised here, but you get them married to someone from back home that they have nothing in common. They don't understand each other, but they're great with you because you were raised back home. So it's like,
you're inserting your own standards into a relationship that you're not a part of.
Exactly. And it's like, your kid and damn well that they're not gonna be like compatible with this person, but they're gonna be fit for the family, for like for you. So I think that's like crazy too.
That is true. That definitely happens.
Yeah.
I'm just laughing because I remember like all the stories about Mama saying that our wives got to come to the house and help her out.
Yeah, it's like it was for her.
I'm sorry, I don't know if you remember.
But now she's a lot better.
Yeah, she's a lot better. Sure. Do cultural standards like race, ethnicity, class limit options?
Absolutely, they do. I think it's a huge barrier, especially for people in my position as a revert who I feel like sometimes I'm on like the fringe of Islamic society. I don't come from a wealthy background. I come from a Christian family, still a Lebanese family, but because I come from a Christian family, it's almost seemed like my family is inferior. So I'm coming from a lower class position. I've had people tell me because I wasn't born into the same sect that they are, that they can't associate with me. I've had people tell me, well, you're not from my village, you're not from my country. It's off the table. It's a huge barrier, and it's a very regular conversation, something that you see so often in this community, this level of judgment based on what they perceive as a lower class. But routinely what you see is people from poorer backgrounds, people from maybe multi-ethnic backgrounds are more compassionate, more empathetic. They generally grow up to be kinder people because they've got more exposure to, I guess, lower class people. We empathize a little bit more. So you may be looking at this person as, well, they're not up to my standards, but religiously, they may be even a better person than you are.
Yeah. No, good points. Good points. Listen, I think that it's so wrong that we are allowing these things from stopping blessings and Bereket for your own kids, by the way, the people that you should probably care for the most in this world. And you are stopping it because of things that you are thinking about. You pointed at me.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say something. I want to say something.
Go ahead.
That's my little signal.
Yeah.
I read this and it was like a comment, and I was like, "Damn, that's fire." They were saying we say Ummah in the masjid, but we draw borders when we get married.
Oh,
Can we get an air horn on that one, Yusuf, or maybe some claps or something, man? We got Yusuf chilling in the back right now.
that is a good one.
Say that again.
We say Ummah in the masjid, but we draw borders when we get married.
Yeah.
Or want to get married. Dang, I messed it up. I said it better the first time, but it's okay. You guys get it.
Yeah, we get it. No, it's true.
Well, I was like, I have to say this line.
Yeah.
It's not my line, but
Why is that?
What do you mean? Why is that?
Why do we draw borders?
I don't know. Wallah, it's jahiliyyah.
Mm.
It's ignorance.
Yeah. The next question is talking about dating apps, and there's the app stories has been hot lately. I don't want to dive into the T app because that's a whole nother conversation for another day. Let's focus on.
So much I could say about it though.
But go ahead. These apps. How about this?
Yeah, how about
because I got Salams and Musmatch. Just in general, these Muslim apps, you could say, or these apps that's supposed to help dating, or I don't want to use the word dating, but finding your spouse. What are your thoughts on them? Are they messing things up, or are they helping it?
They are messy. Before I get into all of that, I just want to say, Salams, Israeli owned, boycott them. Do not use that app.
And
We don't
Pairs,
use-
I heard, is the newer.
I've heard some things about that one. I haven't tried it myself, so I don't want to say anything positive or negative.
Which one?
In Pairs, it's a masjid backed one. Sorry, I moved my seat. It's a masjid backed app, and it's fairly new. But because of Salams, like it being Israeli owned,
They're filling the space that Salams is now vacating, being Zionist owned.
Yes. So like what they're doing is, so when you do get on this app, you have to be masjid backed. Like a masjid you have to be part of a masjid, and then like they have to be able to, and then I guess it's like, well, I don't know how it really works, but I know it's not like the swiping and whatever. It's like they pair
Let me
you.
check your phone. Real quick.
Go ahead, boo. There's no swiping, I think, and like it's like they use AI to
Match them.
Yep, to match you, and then like I don't know, your masjid back. I don't know how that goes, but it's a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? But I don't listen. I've had friends that actually I have 3 people that I know personally that got married, and they're still married. But it's too messy, you guys. The stories, the people, they use it the wrong ways. They don't have the right intentions. Like it's just, I couldn't do it.
Give us the tea, Ashley. Give us the tea.
I feel bad for people that listen. Let me finish real quickly. This is my last thing I'm going to say about it. I feel bad for people that live in different states that there's no Muslims there, and I get how that would be good for them to find other Muslims, but I don't know.
Overall, are you a fan of the app?
No.
I'm not either. I can see where they're trying to fill a need. Mm-hmm. I don't think that it's being successfully implemented. Mm-hmm. I mean, the way that you've described in pairs, that might be something that's a little bit more effective. Mm-hmm. But apps like Muzz are not working. Largely what you see is either men who are on the other apps, Hinge, Tinder, Facebook dating, and they bring that behavior, that westernized, overly sexualized behavior to these Muslim apps, talking all kinds of out of pocket to Muslim women. Or on the complete other opposite end of the spectrum, you've got people who don't know how to socialize, have never talked to women in their life. And I can understand why, like to a certain point, that you are trying to be a good Muslim, you're trying to follow your deen, you're trying to not, free mix. But at a certain point, you got to know how to talk to people. Mm-hmm. You got to know how to socialize. Mm-hmm. And those are the 2 extremes that you see on this app are people who don't know how to have a conversation with a woman, or people who immediately take it to an over-sexualized haram place.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not.
So
it's not a good mix of people.
Yeah.
There's no middle ground. Like there's no positives.
Like
out
I
of
said,
these
I do
situations?
know personally 3 people that were successful in that situation, but they went in very intentional. They didn't waste their time. You know what I'm saying? Like they weren't, as soon as someone got out of pocket,
I feel like that's a rarity though.
Very rare. I'm talking about out of hundreds and thousands.
Among the dating apps, whether it's a Western dating app or a Muslim dating app, these apps subsist on your loneliness. They are only successful if you are single. If you do not meet somebody, then you're still on their platform. You're still using their platform. They're still making money off of you. The moment you are successful, they lose a customer. They lose dollars. They lose revenue. We are 100% with these types of apps guided by capitalism, not really guided by an innate desire to help people meet each other.
Yeah.
It's all about making money at the end of the day.
And people are not honest too. Like regardless of being on an app or not being on an app, like when you meet someone, they're not honest. Like be honest with yourself. You know, it'll save a lot because the truth always comes out.
Most people are not there to be intentional.
Yes.
It is the quick dopamine hit of this instant gratification of
that curiosity, the validation.
Yes, you haven't put in any of the work to get to know this person or to court them in any way, but you get that dopamine hit the moment they like your picture, the moment they match with you. It's not really about forging connection anymore. It's about satisfying your own quick needs.
Yeah, it's so sad, wallah.
You can give that a round of applause. Those some great responses on the apps.
What are your ideas?
No, I ain't gonna lie. I always joke with people and said that I was gonna have an app myself and collect resumes and joke around like that. But I mean, listen, there's so many gray areas. I actually talked to a couple of imams about it and sheikhs, and just so much gray areas that obviously I would not want to touch that. And you can't control certain situations. You open up an app, 2 people meet, something happens between those 2 people. Guess what? You're the one that opened it.
Yeah,
You know
that's
what I'm saying?
100%. Yeah.
And so that's why, I mean, don't get me wrong. I just did a little bit of research. It wasn't too deep, but I had to stop myself because I'm not going to fall into that.
There's too many opportunities for fitna.
Yeah, way too many. You know, and I got obviously good advice from real people, real respected people in the community. So
I recommend the premarital, like.
I don't recommend the apps. Listen,
Yeah, I recommend
let's be
premarital
honest.
counseling where this person came to ask for you already. Now you are going taking the next step to get to know them, but through like a specific person. You know what I'm saying? At the masjid with not alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way of going about it. I guess I haven't talked to many people that are on those apps to actually get like the positive stuff. I mean, all you hear is these stories, so I don't really know too much about, you know, the actual numbers. You know, I know it might work more for non-Muslims because I don't think this is like a Muslim thing for us, these apps, you know. For the non-Muslim people, I can see how it can work. You know, you meet somebody, they don't mind going out on dates and hanging out and getting to know one another that way. But with us Muslims, it's like a lot of this stuff is gray areas, you know. There's only certain points like
We're trying to take an existing structure and fit it into our needs when it's something that
it's
is
not meant to
completely
be-
separate from us.
Yeah. So that's why I
The
look
secrecy, the DMs
yeah.
going back and forth
Yes.
without a mahram. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And the thing about Western dating apps is success on those apps is not marriage. It is a hookup.
Yeah.
It is a date. It is a talking stage. That's not something that fits into this world.
I agree. Great points. So, moving on from that, let's shift the focus now on the pressure on the women. Is the pressure on women to marry young a real problem in Muslim societies?
Yes. As somebody who is unmarried, never been married, almost 30 years old, I cannot tell you how many times people approach me to say, well, you're expired. You're too old. Men don't want women your age anymore. There is such a huge pressure for women to marry young. And then when you reach a certain age, a certain level of maturity where you say, okay, I'm ready to enter a marriage with the right intentions, you're too old. They don't want you anymore. You're not attractive enough anymore.
And judging off of me being a man and hearing the conversations, I hear that a lot. I'm gonna be honest with you, and it's sad because you do hear that. Women do hear that the most too. Men, they'll get married at 50.
And they're right. They'll get married 3-4 times. They're okay.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that. We don't dive into
just
that.
saying.
We're gonna talk. We got that as a question.
You know, like even with the idea of
we got that as a question.
being rushed too.
Yeah.
Like I got married right after high school. That was the time I needed to get married. Oh, you graduated high school? You're getting married. You can't even go to college until you get married. And was I mentally ready for marriage? No. Did I know what I was going into? No. It was not until I got pregnant where I'm just like, oh shoot,
We give men so much grace to wait until they're ready emotionally, mentally, financially. We do not extend that same grace to women.
Yep. And if a woman decides to, oh, I need to take time, let me get my degree or whatever, she's being too picky, or her standards are too high, or she's not focusing on, she's not that, she doesn't care about marriage, she cares about herself. And it's like, no, sometimes you need to go through all of that to get to know who you are, because when you're younger, you don't know who you are. And then you're still trying to figure it out. So if you don't know who you are, you don't know what you want.
If you don't know who you are, how do you know what you can be to someone?
Exactly.
What you can offer them. You don't even know what you can offer yourself.
Exactly. And the craziest thing,
Y'all sound like y'all should try
I'm
to
gonna be controversial. Again, I'm gonna be controversial again. Sometimes men want younger women so they can still mold them because they know they're not mentally ready.
Yes.
Air horn, man. That's an air horn. So what are you waiting for, man?
So
Dang.
they get very, very oh my God, I'm missing the word in my head right now. Like intimidated by an older educated woman because they're like, oh, then I can't change her mind. I can't do any, like she's
right. You can't mold
strong-willed.
her into what you want her to be.
And like, dang.
Can I just say this? I am a proud Muslim married man, by the way. I just want to make sure I throw that out there too. And wallah, I'm proud to be who I am, Yemeni, Muslim, everything. I'm proud, okay? But we as men, a lot of us, are toxic as heck.
Air horn.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, like when you really think about the conversations, and I'd be sitting there and I'd be like, don't y'all have sisters? Don't y'all have daughters? Don't y'all have a mother? Like, you guys completely don't care what they think. And I'm not calling out nobody specific, but I'm just sitting in my head, I'm like, there's no way you could be thinking like this. And I'm not the most religious person, but obviously we all know, the Rasul says the best of people are the people that treat their women correctly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where did we go? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's to the point where, and wallah, I'm not saying this to be wrong. I respect a lot of the men out there. There's some great men out there, but I'm just saying in general, when you're sitting in a room full of a lot of men and they're talking, I'll be sitting there and I'm like, man, like, it's crazy that, I don't know, man. Like, they just don't, they have a very individualistic kind of mindset.
And let me tell you
and
something.
that's the problem. And I'm not saying this, I'm just saying in general, it does need to be cleaned up a little bit. Let's be real.
Let me tell you something. In general, when it comes to boys, like I teach, right? So I kind of like I get to see. Like,
I thought you were talking about older men.
No.
Boys.
No. I hopefully what I'm saying right
Trying
now.
to set her up for a
clear.
clip right now, Ashley. I'm trying to clip her up.
Okay, I really want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. When it comes to boys, okay, I taught first for a long time, so I didn't get to really, see how like they start turning into like men or whatever. But now that I'm teaching 4th and 5th grade, you notice a trend. When a boy is bad, he's the best. Yeah, just the other day, one of the kids was like, they were like, fighting or playing takedown. So I sat them to the side, and the rest of his friends were screaming, free, in his name. I'm like, this kid is bad, and you guys are like hyping this kid up. Like, it was cool that he was doing those things. And it slowly gravitates to a man that has multiple wives but doesn't treat them right. He's the coolest. You know what I'm saying? Or like, it's like whoever could dog a woman, like he's the best. It's just like, you guys promote it instead of saying, taking your friend to the side, be like, yo, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, the better you are, the cooler you are. And it starts at a very young age.
I'm glad you said that, because that actually ties into exactly what I was just thinking, that we live in a society right now that would rather, instead of holding men accountable, would rather let this behavior go and not protect women. We protect a man's reputation more than we protect the actual physical being of women. We praise men for bad behavior, things that harm us as women, and we don't do anything about it. We would rather sweep it under the rug, pretend it doesn't exist, or even praise the behavior than actually go out of our way to protect women.
Mm-hmm. But when a woman doesn't, well, not that I'm saying a woman should do anything bad. When she does, even the women are dragging her. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
We don't really be like,
the
girl.
level of accountability
No, we don't do
is
that.
so different. We hold men to such low standards of accountability, where women, no matter what you do, you are held to the highest standard.
And it starts off with, daughters and sons. Sons get away with
we
so
start
much
this
compared
so
to-
early.
And it's just like a cycle that
Yep.
we just deeped into. That's a whole other topic itself.
Yeah. Yeah. And these last couple questions are going to be even probably more controversial. But before we move into them, we're going to run our next ad, and we're going to give a shout out to our good friends over there at Jebel Coffee House, the same coffee that Ashley has right in front of her. So shout out to Jebel Coffee House. And believe it or not, we're about to move into the last third, but that does not mean the topics are going to dry out because it's about to get even more interesting. Jebel Coffee House. Jebel Coffee House offers all of their customers an elevated coffee experience. If you stop by any of their locations, you will see a coffee house with a luxurious design, innovative spaces to meet with your friends, as well as exceptional service. They offer the best premium Yemeni coffee and quality crafted drinks. You can try their fan favorite, the Adeni tea, iced Jebel latte, or any of their refreshers and matchas. Also, don't forget to add one of their delicious pastries or desserts to go with your drinks, which we guarantee will satisfy that sweet tooth. They currently have a location in West Dearborn, with locations coming to North Carolina, Illinois, Florida, Ontario, and California. You can visit their website at jebelcoffeehouse.com or download the Jebel app, available on all your smartphone devices. All right, we're officially back. And I know you kind of said this word already, Ashley, but let's go back to it. Do we, as Muslims, treat divorced women like damaged goods?
Absolutely, we do. We hold women to all kinds of different standards. Divorced women, especially. I remember there was it was like a big controversy on Instagram a few months back, maybe even a year ago now, but it sticks out in my head so well that there was this woman who was divorced with a daughter, and she was approached by a man who has a huge following and always sort of positioned himself as, you know, a really good, strong, moral, religious figure. And he was DMing her saying, well, I'm not going to marry you because, you know, divorced women don't need that. They need less. I would rather have you as, like, he was basically approaching her as if she was like a side piece. Like, I will satisfy physical needs for you and you can do the same for me, but I don't want to be seen in public with you. We treat divorced women horribly. Men will approach them like they're, for lack of a better word, hookers. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay.
Let me say something. This topic always like gets under my skin because the Abir that was before, like the first time I got married, is not the same Abir that's now. For if anything, I think I'm 10 times better. I think I'm way better at mindset. You know, in all aspects, you know, deen wise, whatever. I'm a lot better than I was when I was, you know, single. You know, and it's nasty that they you know, look, and it's true, the stigma is there, no matter what, the stigma is there. And it's like because of a sexualized aspect, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because everything else, if anything, this person has, you know, went through it all, because it's not easy to get divorced, believe it or not. And some women actually stay in a harmful relationship because they don't want that stigma of being divorced. You know what I'm saying? So for a woman to get divorced and a lot of the times, believe it or not, women they could be sad one day, but then they gotta wake up and figure it out. Then they end up getting degrees and they're living their best life. And sad to say, sometimes it becomes to the point where they realize, I don't even want to deal with that mess. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna do whatever I need to do for my kids or whatever the case may be, and I'm gonna be the best person that I can be. They're the ones going back to the masjid. They're the ones trying to figure out their life and making themselves 10 times better. So when the stigma is there. But at the same time, it's like, you know, like I said, a woman will literally get divorced one day and the next day go back to school and fix her life and live it to the fullest. And the person that she was married to was holding her back.
I think the way we treat divorced women is a good indication of where we are as a society, because that's the people that need us the most. And look how we're treating the people that need us the most. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like as people in general. You know, divorced women, it's not easy being a divorced woman, especially if you have your own kids. You know, you're trying to do everything on your own. As men, you know, it's our jobs to, you know, even when we don't have, you know, you're my sister at the end of the day, and it's our jobs to support one another. And I think that that's a huge indication of how we are as a society, is how we are treating. Divorced women is just one of the few categories, you know, the people who are struggling the most. I feel like we tend to like treat them the worst. You know what I'm saying? But my question off of that is, and honestly, answer this question: how do women view divorced men?
To me, to be honest with you, like it depends on
Why they got divorced?
no, because like I'm a true believer of like a man can be a certain way towards a woman and change completely for the woman that they want. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
So I don't judge anybody on like that aspect. It's more of how they are as a person. I don't listen. Divorce is halal. Yeah, it's like one of the worst halals, like in a way. But at the same time, if you're not happy, I would honestly respect the man that got divorced and the man that's cheating. Because there's men that are married and not happy and they'll cheat, but they're still married. But I don't look at them differently. I don't
know, but I'm saying you're not answering for yourself. I'm saying answer for in general the woman.
Oh, I think even single, never married girls would marry a divorced guy. I think it's not a big deal whatsoever. I don't know. Maybe
Divorced men, I don't think, are seen in the same light that divorced women are.
100%.
We give them more grace, more opportunities.
Yes.
Now, to drop a little bit of lore about myself real quick, my parents divorced when I was really, really young. My dad had 4 kids that he was taking care of as a single father. Without my stepmother being willing to step in and marry a single father, a divorced man, and not look at him any differently, I would have grown up without a parent. Wow. And I think he would have been given a lot more grace than if my mother had been the primary, custodial parent. So if she were a divorced woman with kids, it would have been a much different outcome for me than growing up with a divorced dad with kids.
Good points. Polygyny. Okay? Multiple wives. I looked at you because I know I seen that video that you posted, which was kind of funny, okay? Still taboo, unauthorized, all right? So first of all, forget that. I don't know why that was the question. I mean, we don't got to talk about why if it's on the rise or not. I want to know what are your thoughts. What are your thoughts on it? How about that? Let's start off with that.
Okay, I have 2 things. One, they're doing it for the wrong intention. They're doing it for selfish reasons. And 2, they cannot be just.
Okay, can I ask you this question?
One of the criterias for that to be a sunnah or to be something that they can do is if they can be just. And I'm sorry, it ain't. I have not seen that.
Can we get an air horn? That's what I want. I want an air horn. Okay. So first of all, when you say for the wrong reasons, is the reasons that you hear about still valid enough if you treat them just?
I don't think they could treat them just.
Okay, I'm just telling you though, because you said it's not for the wrong
reason.
reason.
So the Rasul Sallallahu used to marry multiple wives because he would take care of them for Allah's sake. You know what I'm saying?
But
that was the reason.
Not everybody has to do that for that reason though. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. That's the perfect reason. That's the best reason. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just trying to.
Listen, this is my opinion. I'm going to stand by my opinion.
I know.
I could be wrong or right. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying, but even if that's, I'm asking if that's even the wrong reasons, quote unquote. If you're treating them just. I just think that if,
you know what? Let me retract what I'm saying. If his first wife is okay and is aware, then who am I to say that's wrong or right, whatever, you know? But I don't like the secret second marriage. I don't like the getting married and the first wife just blindsided and like, oh my God, my husband went back home and got married. Like that's not cool. Like if you're gonna be a man of marrying 2 wives, then be a man about talking to your first wife about it.
Okay. Because you said she's okay first, then you said talking to her about it. It's 2 different things. By the way, wallah,
it's both.
Ahmed, I love you. All right, I want to let you know. I'm saying this because it has to be a conversation. Because a lot of guys be like, why you be letting these girls come on the show and just be talking? You don't say nothing. And so I have to do this. Okay, I have to do this.
Listen,
because it's for the guys out there. You said okay, and then you said
she has a choice. Listen, let me tell you something. The wife has a choice to stay or to leave.
Okay.
So if he tells her and she's not okay with it and she stays and he gets married, that's up to her. That's because she stayed. You know what I'm saying? But if she tells her she's not okay with it and she decides to leave, he can't get mad at her either.
I think there is a reason that you see this so rarely actually in practice in the world. You see people talk about it online. Mm-hmm. 9 ways to Sunday, all day, every day, talking about how it's sunnah to have extra wives. You don't see it happen in practice in the real world because it is something that is legitimately so difficult to pull off correctly. Mm-hmm. You need to be treating your wives justly. And like you said, not telling her about it and marrying someone else is not a kind or just way to treat your wife. Mm. That shouldn't be happening. But then you asking about like the reasons for it, people's reasonings behind it, 9 times out of 10 are not for good reasons either.
Selfish reasons.
Their intentions are purely selfish, and it's to satisfy, their own desires. At least the people who talk about it online. The people who do it in practice, could be a completely different story. But the people who talk about it online talk about it from this sexualized point of view. I want to have 4 wives so that I can do X, Y, and Z with multiple different women. By the time you marry your first wife, you shouldn't even be looking at other women. You should have your gaze lowered 100% of the time. You shouldn't even get to a point where you are able to look at another woman lustfully enough that you have to marry her to satisfy your desires. That should not be happening.
Can we get an air horn on that one, by the way? And I'm gonna rebuttal. Okay,
That's fair.
I'm gonna rebuttal. First of all, I just want to say this on camera. Okay, I definitely agree to the point where there's so many avenues where you can go wrong that my advice would be very wary about what decision you're gonna make, because the way you treat one wife needs to be the same way you treat the second one. And there's so many levels to it that that's why it's so hard to actually do it the right way. You know what I mean? Like, let's be honest with you. Realistically, if you talk to somebody that is married to multiple wives, are they really doing it the right way? You know what I'm saying? Because it's so hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's very difficult. My only thing is, even if it's because of desires and like that, like, I don't know if that's considered wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, like
that's what I'm saying. Like, as long as, you know.
Like I said before, if his first wife, she has a choice to either stay or leave. So if she's accepting of it and she's okay with her husband getting married and she's whatever, and you know she stays, that works for them. That wallah, I have nothing against. Like that's them. I'm not like judging anybody.
Yeah.
But now let's say like this guy wants to get remarried, but then she doesn't want to be in that situation, and then she leaves. She's looked at as a bad person because he's doing the sunnah. He's following the sunnah. That's not fair. That's not fair, because maybe she can't emotionally, mentally, physically be okay with that, because that's a lot to ask for a woman to be okay with her husband, who's supposed to be for her, like with another woman. Like, it's like mentally not okay. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay and valid for her to leave a situation. Yeah. So I think whatever people allow, like if she's mentally and physically and emotionally capable of being okay with her husband, being with another woman, and they make it work, then they make it work. But if she's like judged for leaving, or she's forced to stay by her family, like there's like a lot that goes around, goes on.
It's a whole podcast show that could be discussed about that.
100%.
Some of these girls don't have any other way out, so they stay, and then they're miserable, and then they are really like, suicidal, some of them, because they don't know what else to do. And there's so much. That's why I feel like it's like, come on.
Yeah, it's a very hot topic. I mean, we discussing it because it kind of relates to what we're doing. But obviously, it's one of those that's like, it's another one of those.
I want to take a moment to just share a quick story that somebody told me through social media about his experience living in a family with multiple marriages. So it touched my heart, actually. Somebody shared with me, and I don't even think he knows that I saw his story, but I did. He told me how when he was a kid, he had a friend whose father passed away. They lived overseas. So his father passed away, and it was just him and his mother living alone with nobody to support them. And his father married his friend's mother to make sure that the child was taken care of, the woman had a roof over her head, and provided for them. That is, in my opinion, one of the situations where this is a good, just, kind thing that you did. You are supporting this woman who has no other options. You're supporting a child who now has another father figure in their life who wouldn't have had it otherwise. That, in my opinion, is a completely different situation than saying, I saw another woman on the street, I was so attracted to her, I had to marry her. Yeah. And I think when we approach these conversations, it's from a very disingenuous perspective to look at these two situations and say, well, these two intentions are equal. It's clearly not.
And by the way, I just want to say this too on camera, that when you are chasing it for your desires, that spark dies, and then next thing you know,
another crazy
yeah. So I'm giving you a fair warning. By the way,
are you ready to take care of two women? Like,
I'm only rebutting this, but Ashley, I have to put you on the spot.
Okay.
I have to.
Okay.
If you were married to that guy who decided to marry the other lady, okay? Yeah. How would your opinion be if you were the first wife to that guy who decided to marry this lady who's struggling and take care of it? Honest answer. Just be straight up. And it's okay, because you have every right to feel how you feel. Like Abida said, like if a woman doesn't like it, she has her rights too. You know what I'm saying?
Right. And it's a complicated question. I mean, I personally would not want that to happen.
Yeah.
But if that were the situation, I can't say that I would necessarily be mad. Again, with my childhood, I only got a mother figure because somebody else stepped up to take care of me. And I would feel wrong as if I were a mother myself, married, I would feel wrong denying that to another child. So if the intentions are correct, even if it's something that's uncomfortable for me, I would want to put the needs of that child first.
Ashley, you got a big heart.
Yeah, yeah. I bet you want to answer that question.
Because for me, we could sponsor. We could send some money every month. But you ain't going over there.
It's not something I would want. It's not something that I would seek out. But if I were in that position, and I've thought about it for myself, if I were in a position where there is, say I'm not married, if I'm in a position where there's a child who needs to be taken care of and I can do it, it's my responsibility. Yeah. So I would expect the same of my husband. I wouldn't be happy about it necessarily. It'd be a weird home situation, but I would expect him to take care of that child one way or another.
That's really nice. Like I said, we'll just send him money.
Ashley,
make sure she's good.
You might have some resumes being sent your way after that.
I'm closing my DMs.
Oh, man. Listen. I'm glad we could laugh because there's some serious conversations we just had. There's people probably cussing us out when they start watching these videos right now, either side. And listen, wallah, we're only having this. This is conversations that are already being had. Yeah. We're just doing it in front of a camera right now.
These conversations have been being had for centuries.
Yeah. So,
and we're not. Islam is perfect, and we're not. And may Allah forgive us for any shortcomings. And anything that we say that's good is from Allah. It's not from us. And may Allah reward us for that, and forgive us for anything that we're saying that's wrong.
Again, we started off the show saying we're not professionals.
I have to say that.
And we answer these questions just from us talking. Okay. Believe it or not, we're on to the last question, and that is, if you can change one thing about the way our community handles marriage, what would it be, Ashley?
I would change the level of accountability that we have for men. I would change the entire structure so that we are not excusing bad behavior from men. We're not brushing it under the rug. We're not hiding it. We are actively trying to protect women from all of these different things that we've talked about that are detrimental to them.
Straight to the point, huh? Abid, what you got for me?
I would normalize healing, therapy, working on yourself, fixing your half of the deen first, and educating yourself on marriage before getting married, before thinking about how your wedding aesthetically is going to look, instead of how being the right wife or the right husband is going to be first. That's what I would change.
I think we have equal accountability for both sides, for men and for women. But the big key point is it needs to be equal. Mm-hmm. We need to be holding women to a higher standard, and we need to be holding men to a higher standard.
Yeah, for me, I guess it's just, once you are ready for marriage, because some people are not.
Understanding what does it mean to be ready.
Yeah.
Because they think, I have enough money for her shut. No.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah,
men have a mindset. Like when they say want to get married, it's get money, have the money.
Yeah, or they have the urge. And I get it, you want to make sure everything's halal or whatever, but if you want to feel like you want to get married, do the work internally first. You know what I'm saying? Work on yourself first. Understand your duty as a Muslim husband, and the same thing for girls too. Then, get married.
So many times people think they're ready, and then they find themselves in that position and realize very, very quickly they do not have everything they need to be a good partner to someone.
100%.
Yeah, and so like I said, once they are ready to be married, it's have an open mind, and that's for the parents, that's for the man, for the woman. And once you find that person that you think that you are, might be your nasib, might be your future husband or wife, I just think that you should keep an open mind, because you don't know what that person may have gone through. And again, our flaws can be fixed over time. Don't let a certain thing or one little thing stop you from pursuing half your deen. That's my advice, is keep an open mind when that time comes around, once it starts getting serious. Prepare your final word. As we do that, I'm going to go over all of our sponsors and how you can follow us one more time. And Ashley, make sure you tell people how to follow you too once you get your final word and final comments. And again, this was season 4, episode 38 of Oz Media's Motivate Me 313 podcast. The title was Muslim Marriage Market Madness. Is the System Broken? You can watch this show on our YouTube, the full episode on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify podcasts under Oz Media. You can see clips on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, as well as YouTube under Oz Media. And you can find all of that on our website at ozmedia313.com. One more time, shout out to the sponsors of the show: Hanley International Academy, Holy Bowly, Wingfellas, Juice Box, Melike Kebab, Jebed Coffee House, Royal Kebab, and Riverfront Cleaning. We appreciate them and their support. Ashley, we're going to let you finish. I made any final words and final comments.
It wouldn't be me if I didn't use what I use with my students, with the audience. I tell my students all the time when it comes to school and them showing up, I can teach and teach and teach and do my part, but it's only 50%. So they still fail, right? They still have to come with that 50% and do their part so we can get that 100%, we get the A, you know what I'm saying, or that success. Same thing when we say, oh, half our deen, marriage completes half our deen. But if you haven't fulfilled your half and learned, what you need to be a perfect spouse or, the best spouse in Allah's eyes, it will not work out. Because that person can be amazing, but if you're not, you didn't do your job, it's not going to work out.
Ashley, great point, great line, by the way, Abid.
I would just say always make sure you are leading with your heart and pure intentions. You're not always going to be the perfect person. You're not going to be the perfect spouse. You may not be the perfect partner, but Allah knows your intentions. So make sure you are coming with your intentions as pure as possible.
Love that. I love
too.
that. Give them a round of applause, Yusuf.
Allahumma barik.
Ashley, I hope you had fun.
I did. I was very happy to be here. This was great.
Even with all the stuff that may have had leading up to here, I hope it was worth it. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Ashley.
It was a pleasure, honestly, to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, and
Well, thank you so much for having me.
This was a great topic. I mean, I'm sure you're the type of person that look like any topic probably you'll be ready to jump on, but I figured...
Oh, I can yap for days.
Yeah, so
Love
I
it.
figured that this was a good topic, though. It would be a good match. And alhamdulillah, I feel like it was a great conversation. We even got the nod from Yusuf. So when you get that Yusuf nod, it's official. He doesn't give that nod to everybody, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
I feel accomplished.
Yeah. Ashley, can you let people know how to follow you and how to, reach out if needed?
You can follow me on TikTok and Instagram. I'm a little lame. My handles start with an underscore at _Ashbay. I post daily. I check my DMs daily, so feel free to reach out if you have any comments or just want to connect.
There we go. Shout out to Ashley. We appreciate her. Shout out to Abir. Shout out to Yusuf, Omar T. We hope that you enjoyed this episode, and we will see you all next time.